Blessed Wednesday evening to you all. I wanted to speak on a pop up from my phone, different news articles, and it's about the statute of limitations. And this one here is from the California law, the new law SB 813. Let me say it again, the new SB 813 law. They said at the beginning of next year, the new law will end the statute of limitations in certain rape and child molestation cases. Governor Jerry Brown has signed a bill eliminating California's 10-year time limit for prosecutors to file rape and child molestation charges. Brown made the announcement without comment Wednesday amid nationwide debate sparked by sexual assault allegations against comedian Bill Cosby. Beginning next year, the new law will end the statute of limitations in certain rape and child molestation cases. It will also end the time limit on old cases in which the statute of limitations has not yet expired. Okay, the new law SB 18. I keep saying 18. Let me repeat it. The new law SB 813 will not, however, help women who made allegations against Cosby, dated back more than 10 years. Cosby has repeatedly denied the sexual assault allegations made by dozens of women nationwide. He is facing just one criminal case, and that was June in June. Okay, civil rights groups and public defense say the California bill could lead to false convictions as memory fade in among the victims and witnesses. Okay, um, 17 other states already have statute of limitations on rape according to the California women's law, and I want to talk on that. Um, this is the time that we need to speak out because there need to be some consequences added onto this law. We have women falsely accusing men of rape out of revenge, embarrassment, um, all of that, you see, or to blackmail a man and to get what they want. And we have a lot of these cases going on. I know in some states, when they find out that they're lying about a rape, they're put in jail. But at the same time, we need some strict laws on these new statute of limitation laws, because right now, what they are doing is giving women the power to control with a lie. So the longer, and I always encourage a victim, rape victim that's in their right mind, to report it immediately because you have the evidence. So what do they do? Are you asking these women to put the evidence in a Ziploc bag and save it for 20 and 30 years from now? Are you telling a female that if she has sex with a guy and then the relationship ends and she pissed off at him, that she saved the DNA that she's been with this guy and he's locked up? We have to come up with something to add on to these new laws. And it's very funny that they put on there that thanks to Bill Cosby, they decided to do this new law. So I mean, we bypass all these other people that actually raped someone. So you say Bill Cosby and his accusers are the one that making you decide to do this new law for statute of limitation. We need to add some strict laws in there, some punishments, like some strong, hard punishment with these laws. because I'm speaking like this because at the same time, it's going to, when these women, they feel like this is going to help us, but at the same time, it's going to do some damage, because you're going to have people, men, that's not going to want to deal with us because they don't want to take the chance of rape, somebody crying rape, you know, out of revenge, or crying rape because they didn't get accepted on a job interview. You know, it's gonna cost us a little bit, you know. And I feel like some other things need to be added to this law for people that lie, you know. Call it the revenge law. You know, you upset, you know, you have females that's upset. They have sex with someone, they get caught. I know of people who have done that so many times. They having sexual relationships with a man other than their husband, and they get caught, and the first thing they say, they was raped, and they was afraid to come out, and they just go in and lie just to save a marriage and to keep from being embarrassed. So we have to do something. So I want y'all to drop y'all comment, but I'm dropping some clips here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, because at the same time, a family member of mine had to deal with that, and we had to fight with the system because he was falsely accused, and thank God that he won. So it's like we as females trying to get power, but I feel like this is in a negative way. This is not the type of power that we need to have. Yes, we have people that's raping and stuff like that. My daughter just showed me a clip of these officers had to go in and rescue a little baby, a little 8-year-old. This man kidnapped and snatched out a mother's arm. And he came out, when they pulled him out, he was naked. And they found the little girl in a clothes basket. Now, people like that, those kind of bastards need to go to jail. And to look at him, look like he got some kind of mental health problem. And he look like he got some kind of, disease. I mean, looking in his face, you would think he got some kind of AIDS or something. So that's why I say also, we got to come up with other things too. We got these people with mental health and stuff out there, and we need to get all of that stuff fixed too. Because now these laws are getting out of hand, and it's like a one-sided thing. But I'm going to let you guys listen to these clips, and please leave your comments below. Like, share, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. You're going to find all kinds of interesting things with me, honey. So just drop a comment, because this right here is really serious. I always get these news pop up and I'm like, oh my God, like, can I please finish what video I'm trying to do? It's just like so much going on in the world, but having social media and that instant news reports, it gives us a lot of information. This is something that actually been going on for a lifetime. But, with social media, we have our new technology. It shows us more things instant, which is a great thing, and we need to be aware of things like that. So do you feel that harsh punishment for any alleged victims that lie, falsely accuse someone of something, it needs to be a harsher punishment to prevent this from happening? Let me know below.
It's our position that none of the state's evidence will be able to satisfy the elements of the offenses of which they've charged. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, it's not a matter of what I believe did or didn't happen. It's a matter of, will the state be able to establish their evidence in this case?
As Damon says, we're not going to put this all out before the trial happens, but we can say very confidently that we have evidence that makes us believe they cannot prove these were non-consensual encounters.
Apologized after a woman claimed she was kidnapped and sexually assaulted by a state trooper.
Fox 4 Shannon Murray is live in Ellis County, where that woman was arrested. Shannon?
Lauren and Tim, this woman's story accusing a DPS trooper of sexual assault has been shared nearly 80,000 times online. But early this morning, her attorney issued an apology after DPS released video of that arrest. Around 1:30 Sunday morning, the state trooper pulled over Sharita Dixon Cole on suspicion of drunken driving. She tells the trooper she's coming from downtown Dallas, where she only had one drink, and she's driving to her fiance's house in Waxahachie. During a field sobriety test, the trooper pours out 2 bottles of alcohol he found in her back seat. He places Cole under arrest and asks her to sit in the front seat of his patrol vehicle. Well, this is the point when the woman says the trooper offered to let her go in return for sexual favors. But that exchange is never heard in the video. Cole also accused the officer of fondling, groping, and sexually assaulting her on the way to jail. But those claims also not supported by the video. Hours after her arrest, well-known civil rights activist Shaun King wrote on Facebook and Twitter, this woman was kidnapped and raped by a Texas state trooper. King included a detailed explanation of the claims as explained by Cole and her attorney Lee Merritt. Well, DPS responded to those accusations late last night by releasing that video in full and saying the department is appalled that anyone would make such a despicable, slanderous, and false accusation against a peace officer who willingly risks his life every day to protect and serve the public. Early this morning, Cole's attorney, Lee Merritt, is apologizing. He wrote, "It is deeply troubling when innocent parties are falsely accused. I am truly sorry for any trouble these claims may have caused."
So a woman is now behind bars for lying about rape. 19-year-old Nikki Jovino claimed that she was raped in 2016 by 2 Sacred Heart University football players, but she then admitted that she was lying. Unfortunately, so much of the damage had already been done. Jonathan Hunt is live in our West Coast newsroom with the backstory here. Hi, Jonathan.
Good evening, Martha. Jury selection was already underway in this case, which has irrevocably changed the lives of the accuser, now the one awaiting sentencing, and the accused, who it turns out were actually the victims. Nikki Jovino had originally claimed that 2 Sacred Heart football players had pulled her into a bathroom at a party in 2016 and then took turns raping her. And as recently as January, her lawyer had said Jovino wanted the case tried.
We're ready to get this story in front of a jury. We think that there is more to this story than has been portrayed in the media.
But this week, Jovino accepted a plea deal admitting she had made up the assault allegation because, as her arrest warrant affidavit stated, quote, "It was the first thing that came to mind, and she didn't want to lose another male student as a friend and potential boyfriend." And the affidavit also said Jovino believed when the other student, quote, "heard the allegation, it would make him angry and sympathetic to her." Investigators said the football players admitted having sex with Jovino, but said it was consensual. Their attorney said the plea deal cannot make up for what Jovino has put the young men through, but that, quote, "it does send a powerful message that lying about a serious incident carries serious consequences." Jovino's lawyer said, quote, "This was a very difficult decision for Nikki and a sad day for her and her family. She will now begin the process of healing and rehabilitation as she awaits her final sentence." Under the plea bargain, Jovino will be formally sentenced August 23rd and will spend 1 year in prison. Martha?
Remarkable story. Jonathan, thank you very much. Here now exclusively tonight on the story, Frank Riccio, the lawyer for the 2 men who are falsely accused. They have not been named. Enough damage has already been done to them. Everybody obviously on campus knows about them. Were you shocked that she came forward? You've got the jury, you're about to go to trial, and then suddenly what? What was the catalyst?
Suddenly the day came where I think she thought that I'm going to see the whites of the eyes of this jury, and I just can't handle it. And it was surprising. I have to admit, it was surprising. I thought she was going to go to trial. I thought she wanted to present her story, her multiple stories, to a jury, but at the very last minute, she changed her mind.
I mean, it's extraordinary because we're in the middle of this, nationwide Me Too movement where we're told that all women should be believed. I mean, that's the environment that we live in right now. Is there anything, what are the problems with that potentially?
Well, the Me Too movement is a very powerful movement. How many years women have fought to have their voice heard. This does a tremendous disservice to that. What it does is it now causes someone to, they've admittedly lied, and now it does soil what would be, otherwise valid allegations. The evidence ended up proving that there wasn't a sexual assault. She lied over and over again, first claiming a sexual assault, then not, then being assaulted, then not. It does a complete disservice.
I mean, I feel for her as well. Obviously, she has, some issues that she needs to work out. But what has been the impact on the lives of these two young men?
They're no longer in school. They don't have the experience at that school anymore. They're in the working world, so they're doing as best as they can. The 1 year in jail that Miss Uvino, is being sentenced to pales in comparison to the 20 years that these boys could have received had they been arrested, had they been convicted. So while the punishment by some may be classified as severe, it pales in comparison to what those boys are facing.
And they can't go back to school? They can't restart their lives where they left off?
They can, and they're considering all their options right now. There will be a civil suit against Miss Uvino, most likely. So all of their options are being considered. They're doing as well as they can right now.
I mean, as you say, these kinds of allegations, what they do is that they're problematic, obviously, for the people that are accused, and also for all the other cases out there that are legitimate Me Too cases where there are cases of assault. It really muddies the waters in such a dangerous, dangerous way. But it's important for people to understand that if you do come forward with a false allegation, you can end up in jail.
Yes, you can. You can be arrested, you can be put in jail, and you can suffer the consequences. When you lie about a serious incident, it carries serious consequences. And that's what we have here.
You think of Duke, you think of UVA. I go back to Tawana Brawley. I mean, there are reasons why people lie about these situations, and we do have to look at every single case individually on its merits, both people involved, right? And really get to the bottom of it.
And the victims who are true victims, their stories don't change. The evidence supports their story. Her story changed. The evidence did not support that story.
Frank Riccio, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you here tonight.
I'm died thinking that I'm a rapist. Can't give that back to me.
An East County man is free tonight after a Team 10 investigation helped expose major problems in the case against him. The man and his supporters are appalled at what happened to him in a story of rape charges, lies, and jail time.
And his story went unnoticed until a distraught father contacted Team 10. Troubleshooter Kristen Severance investigates.
Everyone in my family thinks I'm a sex offender. They think I'm a rapist. Everyone does.
Scott Espinosa was facing 35 years in prison. He was convicted of 6 felonies, including rape by force and pimping. Police said the victim was 14 years old, but she wasn't. In fact, much of the case against Espinosa wasn't as it seemed.
And there is a bunch of guys in the living room.
San Diego police taped an interview of the alleged victim.
There was 10 of them there.
She said 10 customers, Johns, waited to take their turn inside of Espinosa's apartment. 2 men at a time, the victim told police. She also said Espinosa held her captive. Lawyer Laura Wilson shadowed the defense in this case because she said she's considering going into criminal law. She listened to the police tapes.
She comes back the second interview 2 days later where the prosecutor even asked her about these 10 men, and she said, oh, well, yeah, that never happened. She said, I must have dreamt that.
Sources familiar with the Espinosa case prefer to remain anonymous, fearing reprisals within the criminal justice system. The sources said witnesses who never testified tell a far different story than the victim.
The woman was free to come and go in the complex. She would go to a neighbor to have her hair done. She would go to another neighbor to smoke a cigarette.
In fact, several witnesses told Team 10 and investigators that Espinosa put the victim up at his apartment because she said she was homeless. And it turns out the victim is not 14, but at least 22 years old at the time, with 3 children. She does not hold custody. Still, the jury found Espinosa guilty.
I was in jail for 589 days, I believe. Like almost 19 months.
Espinosa said hard time isn't the worst thing that happened. His mother committed suicide while he was in prison. She was convinced her son was there for life.
You know, my mom died thinking that I'm a rapist. Can't give that back to me.
Meanwhile, Wilson was so upset about what happened in the courtroom and the inconsistencies in the testimony and evidence that she wrote this declaration laying it all out to trial judge Michael Smythe. Smythe also received a request for a retrial by Espinosa's new court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
Team 10 cameras were there when the judge agreed to a retrial, but it never happened.
Some nights I can't sleep just thinking about it.
Team 10 tracked down the 22-year-old woman's mother in Oregon. Teresa Peterson said her daughter is a longtime drug user, prostitute, and liar.
Thinking about it now, it just breaks my heart. That's my daughter.
She knew what her daughter's accusations had done to Espinosa's life.
I'd like to see him get a fair trial and ultimately a release.
Instead, the DA offered Espinosa a deal, but he had to weigh his options. He could go free, but he'd have to plead guilty to pandering or promoting prostitution, or he could have that retrial. Espinosa took the plea deal. He said he couldn't trust the justice system to get it right the second time.
It's almost like a dreaming, like a dreaming going to wake up.
His dad was there to greet him as he left jail.
Love you so much.
And so was Team 10.
Oh, you ain't dreaming, brother.
Now, we would never reveal the name of a sexual assault victim, but in this case, all rape charges against Espinosa were dropped. And it's not clear tonight where Leslie Peterson is today. Not even her mother knows. As for Espinosa, he's looking for work, he's looking for a job, and he's really, just trying to stay positive about everything that's happened to him.
So, Kristen, if other people and Team 10 couldn't find out all of this stuff, why couldn't police?
Atika, police did find all the same things that we found. They brought that information to the prosecutor, but the prosecutor took the case to trial anyway. Now, the DA's office said they're satisfied with the plea deal, and they told Team 10 that these cases are very difficult to prosecute.
Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.